Around the time of the Balfour Declaration, Chaim Weizmann, the future president, the first future president of the State of Israel, was speaking with a member of the House of Lords. And that person said to him, "Why is it that you Jews are so obsessed with ending up in Palestine when there's so many other undeveloped countries that'd be so much more convenient?" To which Dr. Weizmann responded, "That's like my asking you, how come last Sunday you drove 20 miles to see your mother when there's so many nice older ladies right on your block?" I know that many of you have a great deal of anxiety over what's going on in the Middle East right now, and I share that anxiety. There's so much to talk about with Egypt, with Jordan, with Turkey, Lebanon, and of course, Syria and Iran. These topics are pretty complex, and this afternoon we'll be having a discussion group, an interactive group, and I'm hoping many of you will be able to join and participate in that, and we'll tackle as best we can all of those topics. What I want to talk about this afternoon, though, is the singular importance of Israel to all of us Jews, no matter where we live. I acknowledge that the ongoing crises and threats faced by Israel on a regular basis at times seem hyperbolic, and as if perhaps it's our heritage to exaggerate our plight, which in the spirit of what Rabbi Li-Paz just said about Yom Kippur and the fact that jokes are okay, I'm going to do a brief detour for a joke here. 4 Europeans went hiking in the forest. They got terribly lost and ran out of water. First, the Englishman says, "I am so thirsty, I must have tea." Then the Frenchman says, "I'm so thirsty, I must have wine." Then the German says, "I am so thirsty, I must have beer." Then the Jew says, "I am so thirsty, I must have diabetes." Yes, we've been known to complain a little bit, to exaggerate our plight, all the way back to the days of Moses and earlier. Absolutely, I fully acknowledge it. But I have to tell you, I've spent a lot of time studying the Middle East, Israel, thinking about all these issues. And to me, we are defying the odds each day by Israel not only surviving but thriving in an incredibly hostile climate with enemies surrounding it committed to her destruction and facing the opprobrium of the world for what, at best, are irrational reasons and certainly are unjust. But 70 years removed from the Holocaust, and in a relatively comfortable time for Jews in the United States, perhaps we can no longer assume that all American Jews necessarily find that Israel is that important to them, or they're able for them to resonate, for that to resonate. Of course, there's the place of refuge argument, which I think is critically important. Obviously, Israel has been a place of refuge for Jews since 1948, and had it been there earlier, we'd have 6 million more to be alive today, or certainly for much of the last few decades. Europe right now, there are many scholars who are saying they're seeing signs that are eerily similar to what people were seeing in Europe in the 30s. Just take Copenhagen, for example. The government itself is warning Jews there not to display symbols of their Judaism for fear that the government won't be able to protect them. And look at what the EU has just done, issuing guidelines where they are refusing to do business or grant any sort of funds to any entity located outside of the 1948 armistice lines. In fact, even if an entity is within those lines, it is only willing to do business with them if they will acknowledge in writing that Israel has no rights to any of the land outside of that area. This would include parts of the old city of Jerusalem, where our very own Cantor Michael cried while touching the wall upon the reunification of Jerusalem following the Six-Day War. While not diminishing the importance of the place of refuge, which is critically important to us, I think it's also important to note that Israel is the religious, spiritual, and cultural center where Judaism comes to life. The great Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel said, "Israel is the tree. We are the leaves. It is clinging to the tree that keeps us alive." And I'll throw in my own analogy. I think of Israel as the beating heart, pumping blood to Jews throughout the diaspora, everywhere in the world, and keeping Judaism alive, vibrant, and thriving. I realize these concepts are a bit amorphous and intangible, but as the great Rabbi Milton Steinberg observed in As a Driven Leaf, there is no truth unless there's a faith on which it may rest. Let us as a community take that leap of faith and settle on the axiom that as goes Israel, so goes the Jewish people, and for that matter, the civilized world, and confirm our sacred status of Israel at the core of our collective being. Rabbi Li-Paz has done us all a great service by recently bringing mindfulness into our community. I've delved into this area quite a bit over the last few months, read a number of books, and I love the way so many of these concepts coalesce so nicely with the precepts of Judaism. I particularly like the practice of thinking that you're just about right at the end of life, but with the clarity and honesty to be able to write down those things that you wish you had done or done differently. And then put yourself back in the present moment. And in fact, take that gift, that second opportunity, that second chance to actually live that purposeful life. Benjamin Franklin once said, "Life's great tragedy is we get old too fast and wise too late." We've now been handed a gift. We have the opportunity with that second chance to be sure that on our watch, we do all that we can to preserve and protect the Jewish people. And I think this is manifested best through protecting and preserving and securing the state of Israel. How do we do it? Lots of ways. There are a number of worthy causes and efforts. To me, having looked at probably not all of them, but a lot of them, I could think of nothing more important than ensuring the bond between Israel and its one ally it's been able to count on, the United States of America. And there's no better way to do that than through AIPAC, American Israel Public Affairs Committee, whose sole mission is to ensure and enhance and guard that bond. Congress has been steadfast in its support of Israel, and that's not by accident. It takes an awful lot of hard work and effort by AIPAC and by people like you and me working with them to continue to enhance those relationships. Yom Kippur, I think, is a great day, holiest day of the year for our people, where we're given an opportunity to be introspective and strive to be inscribed in the book of life. Let's allow that shofar blown today to awaken us to a more purposeful life, to a life filled with many holy days. Some other days that I consider holy happen March of each year, when I, along with Rabbi Li-Paz and many of you, and hopefully many more this coming year, will go to Washington, D.C. for 3 incredible days at the AIPAC Policy Conference. Our mere presence there makes an incredible impression on Congress and the White House. And then our lobbying puts a fine point on that impression. There are forms outside. I strongly encourage you to sign up today. I promise you, you will really love it. We will learn a lot. We will laugh, we'll cry, we'll hug, we'll schmooze, and of course we'll eat. But it's really going to be an incredible experience, and you'll be part of being a difference maker in the history of the Jewish people. Let us all as a community affect history and be inscribed in the book of life together. Let's hear the sound of that shofar to awaken us to grab that second chance that we've been given today. I like to end, as I do every year, with a quote from Anne Frank. How wonderful it is that nobody need wait a single moment before starting to improve the world. Let's start today. Let's get involved. Please join us for the policy conference. Forms outside. I actually think there's a discount if you sign up quickly. I wish you a year filled with peace, good health, spirituality, mindfulness, happiness, meaning, and purpose. Gamar Hatima Tova, Am Yisrael Hai.